welcome to the Fake Truth Show. It's very nice that you've chosen to watch my show. I think I got a lot of interesting things that you might want to check out, so stay tuned. You just might learn something. I know I did. I know I did. There's a lot to learn out there, even if it's lies, even if it's all fake lies. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Fake Truth here. Yeah, we got the 26th. It is officially the 26th, since a couple seconds ago. Yeah, no, it's great to have this chance to, put this material together and present this stuff to you guys. All that stuff. Like and subscribe if you're actually paying attention and listening to what I'm saying. Leave a comment and let me know. Let me know what you think, how it's going. Trying to get my sea legs. There's a lot. It's a complicated thing to do a show. But I'm not giving up just yet. So stick with me. Stick with me. So I'm doing another night lapse right now. It's pretty time consuming to set up the whole time lapse for the whole day. To do that every day. I'm trying to figure out exactly where to put my energy, because there's a lot of different ways you can spend it. Check this out. What's going on here? Let's try and max that volume. Maybe turn this up a little bit. Yeah, these are just some pictures from today. I'm always trying to at least take a couple pictures of the day, just for myself to sort of keep track. But you all can follow along. I almost want to start keeping it on the calendar and keeping track of what went down that day. What was the general vibe? Was it arctically freezing? Was it burning hot? And today was again extremely clear. Almost strangely clear. That I didn't really see any clouds all day long. It was just this bright, powerful blue that was just sort of enveloping the whole day, and it didn't really seem. I didn't really ever see anything come into play. So it's interesting. It was a very cold day, I'd say. A similar temperature to other days where I've seen spraying happening, and definitely did not see any sort of trail, not even a single one, and was definitely seeing some airplanes, but not even like I've been seeing some other ones where it's not a full contrail that stretches across the whole sky. It'll be a shorter one, maybe about I don't know, 4 plane lengths worth of trail that follows behind it, but is immediately dissipating. Nothing even like that. I mean, all the planes that I saw today were just, no exhaust whatsoever. So, obviously it's this endless debate. It's hard to know anything when you're not actually having firsthand experience, and where basically nobody is. I mean, who's really going up and hanging out outside in at 30,000 feet or whatever they say the planes fly at? Who's actually out there and experiencing what that atmosphere is like. I mean, I guess when you're skydiving, or somebody's gonna somebody must have felt it, but it's almost impossible really to know what it's like up there, and what the conditions are. So there's just, this is just yet another one. This is I mean, fascinating to me, at least. Haven't really seen this quite yet, right? The sun is out of frame. We see the sun. We see the sun out of frame, and this incredibly powerful arc that's happening right here. Never actually seen that before. I've definitely seen a lot of lens flare. these sort of fingers coming out. That's just a classic film technique. But this is a really pronounced. Let's try to get in here a little bit. Right? That is a quite pronounced straight line, and there's actually a couple lines. I see two here. I see two major lines. It's like circling around the sun. So that's that. That's something new. That's something I haven't really noticed before. But again, just insanely clear. This is right. If we take this away, this is the time lapse from yesterday. And at least there was something, right? This wispy stuff that I keep seeing a lot these days. Nothing like that. Nothing the entire day. Just this. It's interesting, right? This clean, pronounced line that's right there. So let's see what else we got. It's as far as weather, that was really the main. That was really the main takeaway. As far as what's going on in the world, you've probably heard at this point this whole Roger Stone thing. Roger Stone has been indicted and pulled in front of the Mueller thing. He's gonna testify, and obviously just trolling the hell out of everybody. But again, these two things sort of I noticed today. I mean, Roger Stone, I definitely listened to a lot of Roger Stone on the Alex Jones show. He's one of their main correspondents, and you just have to listen to him talk for a couple segments to really figure out what his deal is. He's a wheeler and dealer. I mean, I feel like everybody, if you work, it doesn't really matter what business you work in. I mean, politics is probably powerful, but I've met Roger Stone in my business, and I'm sure you've met Roger Stone in yours. There's just guys that'll do anything to get to the top, and they like to exaggerate, or that's just, they don't even like to. It's like, it's just beyond second nature. It's just they can't even help it. It's just how that goes. So let me just pull this in front here. Yeah, so Roger Stone, he's out, or at least he was in trouble. But what I'm trying to say is I mean, are you serious? Like, are you actually serious right now? Roger Stone. Let me just pull this up really quick. This guy has been in politics for forever. If there ever was a lifetime actor, it would be Roger Stone. This guy's been in politics forever, and definitely had his fingers in all of the shady stuff going way back to, obviously, Bush and Reagan, but definitely all the way back to Nixon, right? Stone's political career began in earnest on the 1972 Nixon campaign with activities such as contributing money to a possible rival of Nixon in the name, right? Even back then in the 70s, he was doing some sketchy shit. That was 50 years ago, and now this guy's name is, I guess, ringing in everybody's ears. This is not his first rodeo. This isn't even his 20th rodeo. This guy has been just doing the bidding of whoever is organizing this whole thing for a super long time, and I don't know, I'm just not buying it, right? They're gonna string him up. They started to string him up a couple days ago. They tried to string him up when or not a couple days ago, last year, when he was when they thought he was all involved in WikiLeaks, and they were polling him in front of the grand jury or whatever. It's just like another repeat of that. And I know, I was listening to somebody saying, the powers that be, the whoever they are, they have a pretty limited playbook. Like, they just tend to repeat the same plays because they basically work every time, and people are stupid and conform to sort of norms or traditions, and I guess you can just kind of sort of pull the same trick over and over again. But it is, I don't know. I just find it really hard to, I guess I find almost anything really hard to believe at this point. But, right, that this guy is really on top? He's a mastermind? Is that really what's going on? Is that really what's going on? right, moving on. Moving on to the truth-seeking portion. I just moved my cursor. Trying to time this out. Yeah, so I've definitely been super fascinated with this whole mud flood altered history sort of subgenre. I mean, it's a much smaller and sort of newer one, I think, than the flat Earth or obviously the alien or any of these other fringe communities. But there's definitely a lot of hardworking, intelligent people that are doing research in the field, and I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's interesting just in general to look at history, whether you are believing it or not. I think it's fascinating, especially to look at older documents and stuff if you can find it. And actually, if you search a little bit beyond Google, if you actually start going into forums and blogs and like public libraries and stuff, like that's what I was doing today, then you can really pretty quickly find some fascinating stuff. And so, right, a lot of these guys are talking about different cities. I heard a big one about San Francisco. But I'm here in LA, and I wanted to check out LA, see what the actual history is there, because it would obviously follow the same timeline that is going on in San Francisco, if they're saying that, right, the gold rush happened in around 1850, and then by 1910 or so, it was just totally full. Like they had all these amazing buildings, and they had the World's Fair and all that other stuff. So I was looking at these old maps, trying to get a feel for if you can kind of even get a feel for the evolution of LA, and sort of as it grew over time. So right, that first one was a car map from 1914, and it definitely looks pretty built out, right? They talk a lot about and these are maps, so I guess it is hard to tell exactly what's going on, but right, this is a car map from LA, and I wish this was a little higher resolution. But this is huge. This is huge. There's obviously roads going all the way from San Bernardino to Pomona to Fullerton, all throughout. This is a little glitchy, the way it does it. Right, and all the way to San Fernando Valley. Like, basically the whole LA that and drive and live around in is full of traffic and tough to get around. This is a car map from 1914, and right, the freeways aren't there, but all of the infrastructure, the whole road, it's all there, basically. And you'll see in Venice and other areas, there's definitely some like white spots, some areas where there's not a lot going on, but for the most part, there's a lot of the infrastructure is there already. So this was another picture that I found, which I thought was interesting, because this was sort of like an ad for a new community. And what is it? This is from 1924. This picture, and I guess it was in a magazine or something, right? And so you see Palms, you see Culver City, and this is obviously not to scale. It looks a little wonky. But right, this is 1924, and all the streets are already named and put in place and everything. Baldwin Hills, all these streets that you're still familiar with here in LA, Centinela and Lincoln, right? And they're saying that, right, maybe Culver City, Palms, the whole west side was already built out, but that this new Mesmer City, I guess they chose against that name eventually. But this ad is trying to push, I guess, the more closer beach part of LA. And I've talked to people. I've talked to different people. My parents and other people that lived around here a long time ago, and it really was true that in Santa Monica, like even as late as the late 60s, 50s, and 60s, it really was like a beach town out there. There really wasn't a whole lot going on in Santa Monica, especially the way it is right now. But But already, I mean, I sort of see what this guy is saying. Like, you start to look at these maps, and and things just feel like they don't quite line up, year in, year out. Obviously there's some development going on here. This is 1924, but right, and this is another picture from 1924, which I thought was super fascinating. This is the valley, right, the San Fernando Valley. This is 1924, and look at it. Would you just look at it? Shout out to Leak Project. Would you just look at it, right? This is the whole grid, the whole thing is already all laid out the way it is now. I mean, I really want to take these and sort of like overlay them all on a more modern map, because I'm pretty sure all the dimensions, all the like the ratios are gonna be the same, because this is obviously extremely professionally surveyed and everything, right? But here's the whole valley grid. There's out in Northridge, Devonshire, Lassen, Plummer, Nordoff. There's Van Nuys, right? And you see these red lines. I'm pretty sure those are public transport, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like this is cut off, but right. But I'm pretty sure that is public transport. Those. Right, going all through the valley, through all these different stops. That's, and the point is that even today, none of this is really, the public transportation in LA is just atrocious. It's definitely there, and they're building new stuff, and they got the subways, and I mean, I should pull out a map of that, Compared to this, it's pretty lame. So, because what I wanted to get in relationship to that is, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, right. This is the old, right. So that was more of the sort of car street maps and stuff. And here's a cool map of LA in general. And when is this one from? This one's from 1902, right? This is 1902. So this is only 50 years after they like goddamn landed in the place, and apparently it was just right for the taking, and I go back because this is pretty interesting. You can go pretty deep down the history of LA. So you'll find pictures from the 1860s and older stuff where it just looks like some field or whatever, but fast forward a couple of years and the whole grid is already here. It's all laid out. And all just like expertly surveyed, right? Going and because this is sort of mountainous terrain. This isn't necessarily all sort of flat, and that's all pixelating, right? But this is 1902, and it's already just the whole city is there, I would say. So check out this map. You might have seen this before. I've seen this around a couple of places. Let's reset that. Right, this is the Pacific Electric Railway map, and this one is from, I think it says on here, right, and only $2 to ride this thing. I'm pretty sure this is from like the 30s. I can double check on that though, right? But let's zoom around a little bit, right? So that's. And this is the train map. That's what I'm saying. There's Pomona, all the way out to Whittier, and there's stops all the way along here. It's just a tiny little cross section, and we're still trying to get the rest of downtown and everything set up. I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's yeah, when you really start to look at the details, it gets hard to say. Like, we don't build stuff even that fast now with all this money and all this infrastructure. So, anyways, moving on to symbols. Right, depending on your level of TB obsession, which obviously mine is pretty high. You'll recognize this or not. This is a still from last night's episode of Star Trek. I guess I could look up the title. I didn't look up the title. but it's the newer one, right? This is on CBS, like paper, whatever. So I'm really not sure how many eyeballs are on it, but it's definitely, it's Star Trek, so there's definitely going to be a ton of people that are interested in it and tuning in, even though it's sort of a different module, pay per. I don't know. I guess you need a cable subscription or something. Right. This new Star Wars has a very, it's very similar to the older Star Wars, where every episode is sort of has like a deep overarching, quite different moral sort of story or experience where, just like all of TV, basically people are made to make decisions or forced with situations and have to confront certain things, and then we watch them react, and then that's how you get your lesson of like, yeah, if I was in that situation, then I would do a similar thing, or at least I should. And if I see a famous person or anything else, on TV and politics in real life, then I will put this exact moral code on top of it. So, easy dealing there. So this whole episode was about religion. They transport to some island. No, what am I saying? To some planet that's in the middle of nowhere, and there's a bunch of humans on it that apparently a couple generations ago got taken from Earth and put on this planet by this angel, right? And that's what you see here. Is this is in their church? It's like a stained glass, window of their savior, and this is the angel that came and got him, and you can sort of see from the head, it's it's strange, sort of like a cyborg, some sort of advanced tech. That's sort of the vibe I get for even from the stained glass, and I mean, you'll see some other frames. You only get flashes of this angel, and it's apparently going to tie in pretty heavy into the series. Let's see if this is a picture. Yeah, so here's a still. You in the show you only ever see it for little flashes, right? But it's obviously this sort of humanoid person-like figure with these big angel wings, and here's the first time you really see him sort of spread out. And man, I was really looking for where this is, because there's just some research flows into more research. The pattern of these wings. Let me see which one of this is. No, that's a clip. What is this one? Oh, man. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, I should like label these, right? Because I got a couple clips, got a couple stills. This is just another that they're in the church, and again, that's these same sort of elongated diamond shapes that you'll say is just a very very standard shape, but similar to the design that is seeing all over that Tartary stuff. You definitely see a lot of those sort of elongated diamond patterns, and I thought that was interesting that was the same pattern that they use in the church, and I'm that's sort of my whole thing here, is trying to wake you up. You see these subconscious effect that these patterns have on you, because as soon as they go in this room, there's the stained glass, there's a bunch of different atmospheric effects, and obviously it's Hollywood, so they have a lot of tricks available to them, but this is probably one of the more subtle ones that you may not notice, but it still has a massive effect, these different shapes. So let's listen in really quick. I'm going to play this one again. Where's my audio?
These people are and why they're calling for help.
That's one more
Attacks
time.
diverts religions.
All right. Let's find out who
Right.
these people are and why they're calling for help.
But a big part of the episode is that, yeah, they're the religions. It's sort of like they've been taken from Earth, and then they were able to combine all of Earth's religions together and operate in peace. And this is definitely something you hear from New World Order people all the
This glass
time.
is 2 centuries old. Represents not just Christianity, but Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Shinto, and Wicca. The distress call is coming from beneath us. I'll look for the
Right? So, whatever sort of society they got set up here, they've sort of unified all of the faiths and made them work together. And I don't know. There's just definitely all sorts of different layers of hints in television, and I think really when you spend some time but it takes a very long time. You get to sort of get a feel for the messaging, for what they're trying to tell you, and when certain things are really important, and other times where they're just basically trying to influence people that aren't fully aware of that they're getting influenced. So has many layers because it's religion, so it's always going to have many layers. But yeah, basically, that's what we're supposed to be doing here on Earth, and that frame will trigger any sort of religious memory or experience that you've had recently, and make you sort of reflect on it and think about how basically we're doing it wrong, and that the faiths should be working together. That basically why aren't they? So right, just a quick trigger there. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see, which one is this clip?
This glass
That's
is
the
2
one we
centuries old.
saw. Glass is 2 centuries old. Right, this is another, and I think this gives a pretty good view of the angel. And what I have to look this up again. It really reminds me, and if leave a comment if you recognize this thing. It really reminds me of like the stone carvings in that people were looking at in like the Southwest and in Arizona and different things. And it almost looks like a plasma field or something, right? That's sort of what I recognize it as in other sort of ancient drawings. Those aren't really wings, right? It's sort of much more complicated design than that. And it seems to me, I mean, I'll keep looking for it, but yeah, it reminds me of some sort of stone carvings that have happened in there in Southwest Native American stuff. And right, that just gave me pause as well. It's like, what is this symbol mean actually? If it's something that's showing up in Star Trek as an angel figure's wings, but also as a pattern in ancient Native American, rock carvings and that sort of thing, like that's a little nuts, right? And so it must have some deeper meaning, and it's worth getting to the bottom of it. Yeah, this was just another clip. This isn't really worth listening to, but they go and try to save these people basically because they're unaware, but some big radioactive toxic cloud is going to come and kill them. And so they have to save them without them really knowing about it. But there's a whole rule in Star Trek, if you don't know, that, you're not supposed to, if people are uncivilized and don't know about space, you're not supposed to tell them. Which, again, I mean, Star Trek is just chock full. You should definitely, everybody, I think, in conspiracy culture should take a deeper look at Star Trek. Some of the episodes are really fascinating, have good philosophy in them as well. But I think there's a lot of truth that goes on in the Star Trek world. Just like them teleporting, all the high technology, different cultures. And that would make sense to me that there's, some alien races out there, and there is some sort of global agreement that, you're not allowed to fuck with the civilizations that aren't ready for it yet. And I don't think we're ready for that yet. Although maybe it's coming. Sure, it certainly seems like it's coming.
teleport things. I mean, why would they drop that breadcrumbs? Spooky action at a distance. That always fascinated me when I learned about it for the first time. Although, how can we be sure? I mean, I've heard a lot recently about the electric universe. Then that would sort of invalidate a bunch of the science. Like in that episode, they take some dark matter asteroid, and that's what saves all the people, 'cause they use the dark energy, dark matter, to pull all the radioactive stuff away from the planet. So like what? So like what? Is that like dark matter propaganda? Fake Einstein dark matter propaganda. Like, why are they putting this thing as a major plot point in the show? They want to work dark matter majorly into the plot. And this isn't the only show you'll find dark matter in. Basically any of these sci-fi shows, let's say Flash, let's say Fringe, let's say a bunch of other shows, dark matter is all over the place. And how could I forget the other show that's actually called Dark Matter? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. There's a show. Go check it out on